Welcome back, fellow Scrubs. This is Marc Wiz here. We're going to work on the Retro Mansion game today since it's Thursday. So, we were not here last week, but we have done a little research. Because Pocket Fighter EX released over the last week, so I got pretty tied up there. But we have information about what's going on with the whole BoxCast thing. And it's not what I expected it to be at all. So, just pull it on over and I'll let you know. Alright, so last time, if you remember, we had an issue where the box casting that's taking a shape like a box and moving it for collision's sake to bump into something else. So, my appropriately named objects here. The idea is that you'd essentially be doing this, and then you hit them, and then you line them up, make sure that they're flush with each other. Yeah, that doesn't happen, as you'll see here. Alright, I'm gonna increase the distance here to 2. Okay, and so now they've collided and they've tried to touch each other, but, so there's still this little gap here. They won't. I can make this 100 if I want. Try to force it as fast as I can through it. Doesn't matter. It's always going to be away from each other. And we had thought that, oh, maybe this is a glitch. Maybe we're doing something wrong. Don't really know what's going on here. Well, apparently this is intended behavior. Meaning this is not a glitch. This is supposed to be how it works. And that mystifies me on one hand, and it kind of enrages me on the other, because when you're dealing with, something like movement and stuff, you want your character to be flush with the wall. You want to be able to detect things along the wall. You want to know exactly where the wall is. You don't want this gap here. So there were a couple of things. So basically what Unity's doing here is, apparently, for whatever reason, it thinks that, okay, we've got our box here, right? It thinks that for the purpose of simulating collisions, that there needs to be a barrier around the box. And so that's what's actually getting collided with. Not the one on the inside, but this expanded barrier here. Like, they just kind of enlarge it by a certain offset. And it is actually believe it or not, there's actually a setting for this. And you can minimize it, but you can't turn it off. And so, actually I'm not 100% sure where it is, probably in here. Let's see. It's somewhere here, I think. No. There it is. It's funny because Tim was looking up. He's the one that actually found it. I figured it would be in here somewhere. Actually, I don't see it. What's the iteration? Threshold. Yeah, not really. Maybe it's this one? Oh yeah, rigid body. Oh, can I? No, that's right. Oh, contact offset. Here we are. Default contact offset. Colliders whose distance is less than the sum of their contact offset value will generate contacts, meaning they'll collide. The contact offset must be positive. Contact offset allows the collision detection system to predictively enforce contact strength even when the objects are slightly separated. Yeah, thanks. Extreme caution should be used when modifying this value, as making it smaller means that polygons will have an insufficient buffer for continuous collision, and making it larger may create artifacts for vertex collisions. So in other words, don't fuck with it, because whatever reason, this is just how it works. And if you fuck with it, it's not gonna work anymore. So yeah, so where does this leave us? We were brainstorming a few ideas on how to do it. Now, I mean, it's a 0.01 offset, so it's pretty small, but it's still something, you know, that has to be dealt with properly, no matter how small it is. So unfortunately, you know, what do you do here is the big question. So just for visual aid, I'm going to enlarge this, and we'll just know that this is still the 0.01, but it's not drawing the scale, just so it's easier to comprehend. So what do you do? Because it's not just our player box, it's all boxes. So both of these, as you'll notice here, both of these have this offset. So take a look at this. The collision point, which is represented by this crosshair here, this is in between the two of them. Because this part here is at 0.01, and this part here is also in the 0.01. So really what's going on here is it's not just this. I'm going to use a different color here for the outside one. We'll use yellow. So say that the outside, the expanded version is this. Well, it's also here too. So it's, you know what I mean? They're overlapping at the expansion, not the core object. Lemmy Hawkins. Hey yo. Hey yo back. What's up? So this is the problem we have here. So you could say, okay, well, there's a couple ways we could kind of correct this, but they all seem shitty at the moment to get the behavior that we want. And I'll tell you at the end which one I think is actually might be the better, the one to research more. We haven't come to any definitive conclusion. But if we say, okay, oh yeah, and just to make it, just before we advance, just to make it more clear why this is a super huge problem, if you shoot a raycast, not a boxcast, but a raycast, you hit here. You don't hit this. You actually hit this. As far as I can tell, the raycast somehow ignores this for some reason, and you get an actual real ass distance to the thing. So yeah, that causes some problems here, some hiccups. Alright, so what are our options? We've got, this is our box here, and we use this as the reference to cast forward. So here, we're using these colliders as reference points currently in the way that we're doing it. We're not actually trying to smash them together as they are. We're using the points here to say, okay, we're going to BoxCast using this data and ship it forward. Okay. Well, that means we can manipulate what happens to BoxCast. So if this is what we have, then why don't we just shrink the BoxCast data by the distance from here to here? In other words, our BoxCast will be this size, and then automatically, because the system's going to do this, it's going to expand it out. It'll expand it out to the size that we originally wanted it to. Okay. That kind of works, and I think we might have tried that on the stream, at least to a certain extent. Well, we didn't know what the actual value was. We kind of approximated it. But you can actually read this setting in Unity, this one here, the default content. You can actually read that in script. So we'll know what it is even if we have to change it, so on and so forth. Okay, that's fine. So we shrink it. Problem is though, all the boxes in the world, so say like these are level tiles, you know, and we're gonna bump into this wall. Okay, cool. Except they're going to already be expanded because we're not shrinking the boxes. You can't just shrink all the boxes like that. You know, so sure, what'll end up happening is that our BoxCast will be flush up against this. And then our actual box will be essentially like halfway in. So it's still not tight with it. You know, because this is going to act like the outside offset, essentially, because we shrunk it before we moved it. But it's still not a good solution, right? So the other thing was to simply let the boxes be boxes. Let boys be boys, right? They're just gonna do crap anyway. So draw me a fresh box here, and what we can do is say, let the box be box. He's gonna move and he's gonna hit here, but at the moment of contact, we're like, hey, we know that there's a gap here, so let's intelligently calculate the rest of the trip here. The only problem with that we've theorized is, say you get to this point only. This is as far as you've traveled, and their expanded outward things hit. So they're like, hey, we hit each other, and you're like, nah, bro, you really didn't hit each other. Now what? What happens on the next move? If you continue to encroach on each other's territory, is that data accurate? I've been told that it's probably not. So how can you trust that last bit of move to here? You might not be able to. We haven't fully tested it, but you know, I've talked to a trusted programmer, and he's like, yeah, you probably can't rely on that data because it's detecting something that's already inside of something else, and Unity usually doesn't like that. So if you, like, for instance, if you cast a ray from the center here outward, it will bump at this point and say, I didn't move at all, I had a distance of 0. But it doesn't tell you anything about where it hit. And it won't tell you about the exit point. It won't record that. It'll say, I bumped into this guy right here at 0 because I'm inside him. Okay, well that's useless. It doesn't tell us anything. All we know is, yeah, we bumped into it. We're already inside of it, but we don't know where we are inside of it. We don't know where the exit point would have been. It's a mess. So, arguably, not the best way to go there. So, what's the other solution? Potential solution, I should say. I'm not going to make any confirmed statements here because I'll be honest, I'm not really sure myself. Now, we haven't had enough time to get together to really talk about it either, so. Tim, he says, funny how I can tell exactly what you're saying despite having Twitch on mute. Yeah. I know. Oh, it's so horrible. Okay, so the next idea here... Oh, I need another box. So we've got this discrepancy, like I said, between ray casting. So if we cast from here to here, or even like here, this, as far as I'm aware, won't hit. It will only hit if we hit here, you know, or here, you know what I mean? Or here, but if we hit here, I don't think that works. I don't think we can bump into it like that. So... The last option is we just accept that this is the boundary on the outside. That this is just our new size. It just is what it is. And we'll just assume that our center point is now here. Instead of here, it's now here. Because Unity just is weird. But the problem is, if you shoot a ray from here to here, does that even hit? I don't think it hits. I think it actually is more accurate using raycasting, because this will hit. But this, maybe? I don't think it does. All the testing that we've done prior to this doesn't seem to indicate that that's actually the case. So, yeah, like, what the hell? So we could assume that this is just the outside box now, but any kind of normal raycasting is not going to hit that stuff accurately. We could have a point where we check from here to here and we didn't hit anything. Cool. Well, you're going to move inside of it now if you're trying to walk, potentially. Or it's going to give you inaccurate data. So, I don't know. Like, you can't trust that either. I mean, you can do offsets for some of it. So say you've got a ground here, and you shoot from here to here. That's like, oh cool, I found ground. That's great. That's great, we found ground. But we need to know that, okay, so this is that 0.01. So when we say we're going to move the character down to the ground, then we have to also move back up 0.01 to offset that issue. If we're going to pretend that there's this little bubble around us. And that works fine. I think that in and of itself, just concerning, interactions between the basic part of us like that and getting to that, like, we can easily just bump it up because the character's real center point is this, and we can easily just say, okay, it's whatever we hit minus that 0.01, and then we end up elevated, so to speak. But it's just because we're pretending our outside box is bigger than it technically is. So it's this kind of weird sort of like, it's like having this like mirror world where some things see the outside and some things see the inside, and trying to reconcile that difference between the two might be what we want to do. I don't know, because so eventually, obviously in the scope of the mansion game, it's a retro platformer. We don't need physics and stuff like that, but the whole purpose of doing the physics based platforming engine is so you can use it for other stuff. So you say, okay, well, screw all that. We don't give a shit about all that. Let's just not use BoxCast. Let's not use the built-in physics engine. We'll just do some other method of detection. Or we just won't handle certain edge cases that BoxCast is solving, etc., etc. That's cool for the scope of this project, but down the line, what if we do want some physics elements to come into play? What if we do want some of those edge cases to be something that can happen in the game? And I think that's where we're gonna, run into. I'd rather do it right now and get the correct answer for future-proofing it, as opposed to, just slapdashing it and saying, oh, well, we don't need it for this project, so screw it. And then we build up a whole system and come to find out that, we have to redo everything because we ignored that problem. And our current solution is not capable of being modified to handle that. So back to square one, and that's a waste of time. And I'd rather just have a solid, known, working, all-around solution that we can just deploy for any project going forward. I think that's important. So, where does that leave us? I think right now, this one has the most potential. Only because we can sort of mitigate some of these issues. So, we've got, we can sort of compensate for some of this. Like I said, right here, if we cast down from the center point, we can say, well, we're actually pretending that this is our center point. So any catch between here and here, we're just not going to ignore it, but we're going to treat it differently. So if we happen to hit ground, so let me elevate him here. Or what? I'll just change the elevation to ground. So if we're going this way, then we've got this to contend with, this same offset down here. And so we can subtract that from there. Because if we move from here to here, this green line is going to be flush with this, and this yellow line will be here. And we don't want that. We want the yellow line to be here. So all we have to do is subtract the difference on this end. So this difference in size here, you just subtract it from the bottom here. So if we really say that, okay, we hit this, or we hit this, but we're going to only move down this far, then that puts the yellow flush with the bottom. And so it's kind of like a space, or like I said before, a bubble around the character. I think that might be the best direction to head in for now, and see where we come up with that. But I think we're gonna have to have a nice big meeting and discussion on these ideas and try to flesh out, hey, do these actually sound intelligent? Are there any damning edge cases that are going to destroy this idea? Tim says, no, as its purpose is wall detection, the BoxCast should ignore every surface at an allowed angle, unless there's an actual world point poking into the player region. Okay, so yeah, that kind of touches on what we talked about last time. Got you on mobile ISP crapped out, waiting on them to fix it. I admire your dedication, Klein. Thank you. Yeah, so what Tim is saying, oh, yeah. Alright, so, yeah, what Tim is saying, it's somewhat unrelated, but just to follow up what he's saying. If you see something that can be walked on, and the box is going to bump into that thing, the box can say like, oh shit, well, I stopped here because I bumped into this line and I don't like it. But you have to ignore that because it's an allowable walking angle. But something up here, get something like this. Well, this is technically an allowed walking angle, but you're still gonna bump into it. It's gonna be like, hey, yo, you hit something. I don't want to proceed, past this point. Except you have to tell it that, yeah, okay, that's good because we don't want to get this spike in our face. Cool. Well, how do you determine the difference between the two things? Actually, let me draw this back a little bit. Because this is the more likely scenario. You're going to hit this line and be like, bro, I don't want to do, what is this? You're like, it's a wall, or it's ground, go ahead, just keep walking. Okay, cool. And then he's going, bro, I hit something. Well, what is this? And you have to determine also, because this is an allowed walking angle. You could walk on this if you were standing up there. But it's not something that, how do I say? You're not walking on it now. So when you move across the floor, make sure the BoxCast is not tripping up on stuff. You gotta look ahead as far along the floor that is walkable that you're gonna move, plus, the half the size of the box. And if you see that in the future, oh yeah, we could walk on this, and this is cool, this is fine. We're cool with walking on this thing. But we never encountered this, because we'd have to walk like this and then walk across the ceiling and go here, and that's not possible. So we need to say, okay, cool, we're gonna stop here. And then we ignore this line because it is walkable. That's what Tim was talking about, a little bit of a side tangent. Because this is not going to be walked on as we're walking through. That this, even though it's a walkable angle, it's a walkable floor, it has to be seen as a wall at this junction point. So, yeah, because if it gives you a point here, it may detect this line up here, or it may detect this line down here. We haven't figured out necessarily how to make that consistent. It might be possible, because this gets a little tricky. You've got multiple things going on here. So you've got, you know, say this is your box. Well, what if you bump into something like this? If you bump into a corner, you can be like, okay, cool, I bumped into something and it's really close to the end point of that line. So we can check line A and line B and figure out what's up with these two. But you can't do that, you know, for this, and you have to intelligently determine that, oh, we bumped into something, but we're not close enough to a point to also look at line B. Because there's still line A and line B. Potentially line C over here. But they're too far away to worry about. We're not actually at an intersection with them. So there's a lot of stuff to go over on how to make this shit work, and it's turning into a nightmare real quick. So yeah, so that's all the problems. Like, you don't want to not address this, because then we can't use any kind of physics in any later titles. And you know, BoxCast is really handy. Like, it tells us a hell of a lot of information that we wouldn't normally get out of Raycast. And to be completely honest, I don't know how to handle something without the BoxCast. So let's say this. You got your dude here, and say instead of using the BoxCast, you're just gonna shoot rays, you know, every so often across the floor here, or in the direction of the floor, and then eventually you're gonna hit a wall. I want to say this is the floor. Okay, you'll hit the wall, and that's cool. That's fine. You can say, all right, we went this far, and we're gonna move our dude up against the wall. It's kind of like what we do with the falling code. That's fine. But what if your wall, say there's a wall here, there's also this. Your rays will never see this. In fact, if you ran this code, it'd be like, okay, cool. Well, we're standing here now, and like, yeah, that's not cool because there's something inside the player now. But those rays, they're infinitely small. They're not volumetric, and by volumetric I mean they're not like a body. They're not like a square. You're not moving a square into it. You're literally just shooting, like shooting a gun. You shoot a gun and hit the wall, you're not going to hit things below it or above it. You're not going to hit everything here. You're just going to hit this tiny little point. And if it doesn't see this, then you got bad news, man. Bad news, Charlie. So, yeah, what the hell do you do with that? What can you do with that? You know, is it possible to accurately determine something like that with rays? So there's got to be a way to do it, because obviously BoxCast does it. You know, it does see that thing. But I don't know how to do that manually with just using Raycast. You know, one thing you say, oh yeah, well, once you hit the point here, maybe you shoot down along the wall and hit this. Maybe. And what do you do when you get here? Do you shoot down this way and see if there's anything going back? Do you have to shoot up from here too? Do you have to shoot every ray? You have to shoot in between each one? Maybe? I don't know. It would take a lot of thought and research to figure out an exact way to do that. So it seems like, oh, well, BoxCast does it for you. Tells you everything you need to know, right? So that would make sense to just use BoxCast. Except the whole problem with the expansion. So, I don't know. And yeah, even if we did do this, okay, cool. But then we also have physics collisions potentially in the next project. So you're still gonna have to somehow deal with this problem, one way or another. It's ridiculous. So I'm getting mad just thinking about it. So me and Tim have to sit down this next coming week, and maybe we can pull AJ in and figure out what the hell to do with this, because it's nuts. So I don't know. I think we've got decent concepts as long as we can get this damn expansion shit working. I think we've got decent concepts to handle, like, oh, well, this is a 4, this is also a 4, but how do we make sure that this is not, a good result, and that kind of stuff. I think we've got a good idea on how to do that. It's just going to come down to how do we do the rest of this. So it's tough, man. It's tough. It's just this whole expanded part here. I think if we can figure out how to shoot a ray from here to here and actually detect this thing, I think that will help. So let's, just because we don't know at this point, I'm assuming because it seems like all the stuff that we've done before, we've never noticed this aberration at all. Everything's always moved flush until we got to the fact that we're box casting. So I'm going to shoot a ray from underneath something, and then we'll just use this one here. So let's see, this is the ground. Let's just make sure that these are whole numbers here. 0. And then we'll copy that and put it on effing box. And we'll make this, I don't know, 20 dollars. Where is it? Where's everything else? Oh, it's way over there. He's gonna try to move right. Yeah, let's play it, just make sure it's doing what I think it's doing. Yeah, okay, cool. So we do see the ray from here to here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shoot a ray from slightly under here. So if we... Oh jeez. Sorry about that. Killed everybody's eyeballs. Alright, so if we've got this, that's our actual box. And this is our expanded physics bubble, if you want to call it that. And we've got our other box that we're moving into. What I want to do is shoot a ray from here to here. Or at least just cutting right through it. And see if we actually get anything. See if anything is actually detected. I'm expecting it's not going to, unless it actually hits the original inside shape. And oh man, if it was at least consistent, then we wouldn't have problems. The fact that I believe they're inconsistent, that's screwing everything up. Okay. Fuck you, BoxCast.script. Yeah, I was a little mad when I made this example. I'm still mad thinking about it. Okay, so... Oh my god. Alright. we're gonna have to do an additional raycast here. So here's the BoxCast. I don't want to try the new one, thank you. I'm happy with the old one. What's this thing doing? Yeah, okay. We want to do the ray origin is going to be the center. Let's see, minus, we're going downward. Box bounds extents, which is an extent is from the center to the side. And so this would be the y extent and the x extent. It's like the radius, so to speak. And so you do have sides, and that's the whole length here. That would be the x size. This would be the y size. So the extents is always half of those sides. So we're starting here, and we want to move down the y extents. And then we want to move down again. And so our tolerance is, 0.01. So we want to do 0.005. We want to be in the middle here. You shoot a ray from the middle to that one, from the middle to that one, and see what happens. So then we also have to... Wait, hold on. Let's do this. Plus new vector 3, because we only want to do the y here. So we'll do negative extents.y plus negative 0.005 and 0. So this should give us a point right here in between this tolerance zone, and then we're going to fire it at the other one going to the right. So yeah, ray direction transform.right, that's correct. Then physics 2D. Now I've been told that the 3D physics somehow is more accurate, but they also have I believe they also have this contact thing. Oh yeah, there is a default contact offset for that, so I don't know if that's actually true. That's what we read last time on stream, but I might be suspicious of that information, just to make that clear. We want to raycast all. Our origin, ray origin. Ray direction, distance. Just do distance from the one up there, and is that it? Yeah, we don't need to wait a minute. Oh, I see. I'm storing that because I'm doing that shit down here. Alright, we'll do... all these BoxCast direction. And BoxCast origin. But we're also going to make ray origin. And ray distance. Our direction. Where's distance coming from? Oh, that's up there. We're gonna rename that to BoxCast distance and do ray distance as well. probably just one here. Okay. So, ray origin, ray direction. And then ray distance. Okay, and we should get some hits here. And that should set up our loop. Just like last time, we don't care about hitting ourselves. That will cause problems, so we just decide not to do that. And so we actually hit something cool. I'd like to record the point, so... Well, let's... yeah. Ray hit something. Actually, let's make that public so we can see it. Ray hit something. And then public vector 3 ray impact point. Okay. Let's see. I want to also add an offset here. Vector 3 ray origin offset. Then plus the offset. That way we can move it a little bit. So say this doesn't hit anything, we can then in real time move it back up like into here and then shoot it and see if that works. And we'll get sort of a real time feedback on how that goes. So I'll be happy with that. So ray hit something equals true. If we actually hit something, we do have to make sure that that is set to false first. So it refreshes every time. And then ray impact point equals vector 3.0 as our default. But if we do hit something, we want to fill that in with ray hit. Ray hits. I dot point. And just because it's bugging me here, get that capital in there. Okay, and then so if ray hits something, then we're going to make the color white. And this one's that draw. It's a wire sphere at the ray impact point. So this should only show up if we actually hit something. Should be a good indicator whether we hit something or not. And a radius 0.01 f, I guess. Should be okay. I don't know, what's the radius of the other one? 0.05. Okay. Let's do the same. And we do always want to draw the ray. You can draw it with, I don't know, color. You can do yellow. And so that we need the ray origin, the ray direction, and the ray distance. No. Ray distance. I press Control D instead of Control S. Control D makes duplicate lines, which is cool. A lot of times I forget and I just copy paste it. Alright. Let's see if this looks like it makes any sense at all. We got our center, we move down to the bottom, and that little crevice in between. and we do our origin offset so that we can move that thing after. Transform that right, so it's gonna shoot. Excuse me, it's gonna shoot from here to here. So that is right. And I know that's right already because that's what the other one does. That's the direction it goes. We want the same direction. And then if we get something cool, if we don't get anything, then you should know. And it should be visible. Oh boy, you ready? What are we gonna get? Okay. So it is slightly on. Yeah. Alright. It might be a little too far away. Did you notice that the distance between here is actually smaller? So that's why we got this offset. You notice that Ray did not hit something. It does not show an impact point, even though it's gone all the way this far. Should have penetrated inside that outer bubble. But maybe it's too far away. Maybe. That's reasonable to assume, perhaps. So, the ray origin offset, we're going to do negative 0.001. Oh, sorry. Okay. I moved up too far now. And we did get an impact point because we did hit this. So we do 2, but that's going the other way. 0, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 5. Okay, yeah, 4. 4 does not hit anything. No impact. So yeah, so our assumptions were correct. That this this little outer bubble only occurs when you BoxCast, not when you raycast. And we will, just to drive this point home, 4, 5. Look how close we're getting. 4, 5, 5. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, 9, 9, 9. Oh, we did finally get it after how many 9s? 3 9s. 4 9s will get it. Do you see how close? Look at this, you can't even tell the difference. And it still hasn't hit. Because it doesn't respect that boundary. So what the hell? I mean, really, what can you do to fix that? So only BoxCast has this outward thing. This is why I'm really mad. If it was at least consistent and that the rays hit that little expansion zone, fine, okay. Then at least it's consistent and you can deal with that. But if the rays don't hit anything, but the BoxCast does, yeah, you got a problem. How do you rectify that? I really don't know. I don't have the answer. Now we know that we know that the rays absolutely, definitely do not respect this outward boundary. It just doesn't give a shit. So, yeah, fuck, like what? I don't know, man. I don't know. Gonna have to hop in a conference call with Tim, and we're just gonna have to start yelling for a few hours until we figure out what's going on. If you're watching this, AJ, I'm gonna be sending it to you too. You be prepared. We can't do this alone. We need Mama AJ's help. Yeah, I don't know. It's just pissing me off because look at this. Ridiculous. So we either have to deal with BoxCast being weird, or we just don't deal with BoxCast at all and find a different way to intelligently find all those spikes. Now, I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of games that don't do this. They just say, fuck it, we're not going to have any kind of wedge like this. So, like, this is your dude. Oh, we're going to shoot rays out, and, you know, we found that one there. But we didn't find anything here, and didn't find anything here, and this is completely oblivious. And you know what one of those games is? Super Mario Brothers. New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii. Actually, one of the games I studied to learn about the center point thing. There's a few places and a couple levels that you can actually encounter something like this. And you will see Mario jitter as he goes inside and gets popped back out as this thing. In this case, it was rotating upwards. So when it rotated far enough, the ray saw it, and the impact point would be traveling down, you know, and it would be pushing Mario back out, even though his face was like inside the wall originally. Like, it was really weird. And that's why I first realized, okay, so we know exactly how they're doing what they're doing. But if we need to do better, you know, how do you do that? And Nintendo's answer was basically, yeah, we're just not going to design for that. We're just going to make sure that our levels have a minimal amount of this, or none of this. Or to the point that even if it does occur in rare circumstances, that it won't screw up something else. Now, they've also got the benefit that, you know, like when Mario gets crushed by something, that he gets killed too. So, you know, that actually solves a lot of their edge cases in that scenario. But I did witness him walking into, and I think what it was is that it was a giant circle that was rotating. So it was like a circle, like a piece of circle ground. But on one part of it, there was a cutout, and there was a pipe on the inside. So you want to, you want to go get the secret pipe or whatever. So there was this break in the wall here, and as it's rotating around, so say the ground is like here, and this thing's rotating around and around and around, and I think it's going this way. So you have, at one point, where the ground is here. Come on. Where the ground is here, and then this is slightly poking up, like here, because it's, you know, this is the cutout. And so Mario is standing here. Now we can get red for Mario, right? Mario's standing here, and his rays shoot like this. So he was actually getting inside here because he never detected that. And then once it moved up enough to hit this ray, then he'd pop back out and pop back out. You can see him get juddered out as it detects it. So we know exactly how they did what they did. And it's a low-cost solution. So by low cost, I mean it doesn't take that much processing. You're only using, 3-4 rays or whatever it happens to be. And as long as you're not doing anything like this, you're fine. Like, that will catch any kind of wall that's not a jutting out point. In any kind of situation where this occurs, like, because they do have like giant like blocks that rotate, and then like you can stand on them, you can slide off. But I think at that point, because you're falling so fast, that the judder may be 1 or 2 frames only, and you won't even notice it because you've slipped off of the edge at that point, and then you're starting to fall down. So if you happen to move a little bit into the edge for 1 frame and get popped back out, you're not going to really see that because it's got his frantic falling off the edge thing. And then of course you're going down in a drink and that's it. So it doesn't really matter. It's not like you can stand there and wait for the aberration to happen like you could here. So yeah, but I don't think that that's good enough for what I want to do in the future. I want to be able to, if possible, handle this edge case. I mean, if you can't, you can't, and it is what it is, and you just design around it like they tried, or try to minimize its impact. But I think it would be very, very good for us to do that. Now, I don't know if the Wii U game or I guess the Switch one's the same as the Wii U, right? Yeah. So I don't know if the Wii U game handles these situations any better. This was just from the original Wii, New Super Mario Brothers, that it happened in, that I studied, because that's what I had on hand. I actually don't have Super Mario Brothers Wii U, so I didn't have that on hand to study. But I figured an official Nintendo source would be quite interesting, and you know they're usually really on top of their shit, so that's what you want to look at. Especially when it comes to gameplay controls and that kind of stuff. I was actually really surprised to see that was an issue. But that got me thinking, okay, so how did they mitigate that? They just didn't do this very often. They didn't allow that situation to occur in levels. And when you're dealing with like the old 2D games, you don't have any of this shit. There are no spikes. Everything's on a grid. You have whole blocks, or you have an incline block, but that's just has a foundation of the grid around it, so you don't do that. The only point that you have is the one on the bottom, or the top, or like the ceiling, you know what I mean? And this is what the center point system's designed to fix, is it's supposed to fix this problem, but in the up and down direction. So it's like, okay, cool, like, you know, you're going up, because you're just a point traveling along the line. And then you can safely go back down the other end. And I'm sure that they do it differently back then than we do now. They aren't using raycasting and all that. But if you're dealing with pixel graphics, it's way, way, way easier. Like, I've already done platforming with pixel graphics. You don't have to worry about infinitely small space with lines and shit. Then you're golden, because you have whole blocks, you know, that you can just test every one. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's only 16 possible things that could be here. There's nothing that can go through the cracks when you do that. You know, you're basically checking a grid. You're checking a grid forward. And since nothing can slip between those grid spaces, you're good. Because these are all pixels, so you're going to detect, you know, forward on those pixel lines. There can't be anything in between pixels in the old games, the way that they're done. So you know exactly, it's literally like a BoxCast forward, because it's going to hit everything in the middle. But with raycasts, and you have, because they can be so small, they can be 0.00001 objects can be so small, they're like this. And those rays can go right past it, they just won't see it. That's the problem that we have. So, that's what keeps me up at night, alright? That's why I can't sleep. I'm gonna die at 40. And it's all Mario's fault. No, not Mario's fault. Mario's the happy place. It's where I go to be happy about things. But now somehow it's crept into the bad part of my life. Keeping me up at night, making me mad. So, yeah, so like I said, it's the easy solution and the low power solution is just to do this, but I don't think it's good enough for what I want to do in the future. So that's where we're at. I've got more questions than answers at this point. And if Unity didn't work this way, I think we would be A-okay, you know? It might be okay, but I don't know. So we either have to eliminate this as a tolerance somehow, mathematically, by invalidating results that we get that don't quite reach, or we somehow just accept that this is the way it is, and we pretend that the expansion is always on. But how do you expand the box to hit this? Like, this just doesn't work. You've seen it. This just doesn't work. As close as it is, it still doesn't detect it in that range. So I don't know. And again, you can minimize, but you cannot turn this off. Sure, you can make it 0.00001, but then physics might not work. And if I need physics for a future project, then now that's completely off the table. So I don't know. It's you're screwed one way or the other, pretty much at this point. So, and sitting here saying it out loud's not giving me any ideas, to be honest. I really thought that maybe we can make this work. Thought this might have been the best way to go about it. Just pretend that the outside is just embellished and do it, but it's just not working. Yeah, I just can't think of anything that would really help this. Because when you want rays, you do want rays in certain cases. You can't just BoxCast everything. It's not gonna work. You do want rays in certain cases, like we're, okay, we're on the floor, but we need to shoot along the floor and stuff. I don't know. It's killing me. This is why my beard's going gray. Okay, gray hair's popping up every day. I find a new one. I'm dying. That's it. I'll be dead before this damn game's out. That would suck. I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, look, God, you're fucking me over here. What are you doing? All I wanted to do was release a goddamn video game. The only thing in life that I ever wanted to really do. And you killed me before the fucking thing came out. Thanks a lot, God. Oh well. Whatever. So just make video games in heaven? I don't know. How does that even work? Anyway, morbid jokes aside. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with this. And I don't really know where else to go from here. At the moment, like I said, we're going to have a nice little powwow with Tim and AJ. So, Tim, you are, if you're still here, I think our schedule is aligned next week, right? It's like on a 3-week cycle. We need to discuss this shit. It's killing me. It's killing me. Tim had some kind of idea that perhaps you could, when you get an erroneous detection, that you could shoot additional rays or an additional box or something to like kind of get more information about it. And that might be a nice direction to go. But as a loose-based concept, it's not clear whether or not that will solve all our problems at this point. Because you could say, I don't know. Ah, jeez. Okay. Sorry. Oh, wrong macro. Where's the fill? There's the fill. Oh, jeez. Alright. So what Tim was proposing was something kind of like, okay, you got your box, right? And then you've got the outward expansion that BoxCast is going to add on top of it. And, okay, so then you hit another box, cool. And it only gets so far in, right? So that maybe you could then, once you've detected that you hit something, you could shoot more rays, like from here to here, or whatever, to find out like how far away actually are you from this thing, and then use that to maybe correct, or to maybe even reject the collision. You could do that. Like, so, because one, I didn't really point this out exactly, but one of the flaws with this is that if this is moving this way, and you've got a box here, this actually isn't touching you, but it will touch you on that outer expansion, right? So you can't move right because it'll be like, bro, you hit something. Like, what are you trying to do? You're walking into something. It's gonna overlap and you're not gonna be able to go forward. But what if you shoot a ray here and you're like, yo, bro, I didn't see nothing. That ray's clear. Well, it did not come into contact with this thing. And you can shoot it from the bottom right here too and say, hey, what'd you find? Nothing. All right, we didn't hit it then. Say screw it, we didn't hit it. You know, additional little validations like that. And I think that's what Tim was trying to say. Whether or not you want to shoot from that direction or this direction or whatever is up for debate, I suppose, depending on where the two colliders are and the context that you get between them. But I'm not saying that this is foolproof. I'm sure there's a lot of edge cases that are going to have to be handled because you're omitting detections here, but I don't know, maybe that'll work. So we'll have to do some additional experimenting in order to figure out exactly what to do. But I think this also could be a solid idea, and I think Tim might be onto something. Just start shooting additional rays. Like, okay, it says, alright, the impact point's like here, right? Between the two? Like, shoot toward it. If there's a distance here, or say, like, shoot there, or shoot from there down here, be like, we got nothing but net. we're not touching it. Nothing but net, man. So who knows? You know, there could be a whole bunch of additional things to do. You know, to validate this kind of stuff. Oh shit! I'm just worn out today. Excuse the yawning. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to talk more at length and when we have actual time to sit down and discuss and to draw our diagrams and start yelling back and forth. You know, the usual process that you see. And then we'll see what happens. So I guess until then we'll just put a bookmark in it and it is what it is. But I don't know. This is what it is. Alright, we still got time left. How far are we? When did I start? 7? Or about an hour? Alright, screw it, whatever. Let's make sprites or something. It's just something happy! Get my blood pressure down. That'd be great. Alright, what do we got? What were we working on last time? Oh, we're using a sprite now. Everybody keeps yelling at me. Alright, that's all pocket fighter shit. Really? Kids aren't in here? Recent folders. Open. Alright, that's all pocket fighter. There we go. Let's go to Ace Sprite Files. Here's the kits. Oh yeah. Wait, Screen Lock kids with backpacks. Ricky backpack. Oh, okay. They're in Ricky's file. Okay. Alright, and we're not using those anymore. We're using these ones now. Okay. Oh, yeah, alright. And then Tim made additional I may not have saved them. Tim was messing around with Well, Tim likes to get really detailed with the sprites, so he made one that's kind of like in Tim style. Grab that quick. Sure, it's yeah. Scrolling up through all the discussion and the yelling and the back and forth. Come on, where is it? Where is Tim's sprites? I wish I saved it. I might have it in a different folder, but just to make sure I've got it here. Oh yeah, we got the the mouse. Here, let me save that one as well. Show that. Yeah, there's actually a couple pieces of concept art. I don't think I saved it in the folder yet. So, we'll get the mouse while I'm digging through the rest. So, that was one of the, almost like a, can I have some more porridge? You know, one of those fucking things. It's just looks like it's from the 1800s or whatever. Which I don't know if we're gonna go in that direction, but it was interesting. Just a little behind the scenes of, yeah, we doodled that out. Got different mouse ideas. One of them in an armor or a skull mask. Oh, it's a mask! Oh, jeez, I thought he was an actual skull mouse. That's funny. Well, it makes sense because he's got actual eyes, right? Yeah. That's actually kind of funny because he's almost like disguising himself so that the monsters don't get him. Maybe I didn't understand that when I first saw it. I was like, oh, it's a dead one. He's like a ghoul or something. That's funny. I didn't realize that that's what that was. Let's see. Continue looking here. Go real back in time here. And here's more mouse. Kind of just different variations on it. I don't know, that looks like he got underwear in his head. And he's got a band-aid. He's fucking Rambo? What is this going on? Is he Rambo mouse? His name's John. Oh, here's another one. Oh, yeah, this was before the variations. So this one's got like the basic one, and then like one where he's like chained up or something. What else we got? Ah, here they are. Here they are. Oh, they're blowing up though. Shit. Well, we can at least examine them. So he's got. So he did it a little different. He slimmed Melody down, which I like that. He added a little tag to these thing, and we actually ended up putting that in the concept art too. Oh, I think we put it in there because it was in the concept art. Yeah, I think Koi put that in there, and then so Tim picked up on it. I don't think I realized it was there, something like that, and then he put a tag there. Something like that happened. Melody's got an earring. I don't know about that. Makes her look a little older. She's got the softer lips. But she's thinner here too. And Ricky got a little texture on his legs. A couple other things. We'll examine it. I'm gonna pick and choose, I guess, the details that I like. I think he had another one too. Oh, here's more mouses. Mauser, right? It's Mauser. No. Please don't send me Nintendo. We're not really putting Mauser. So just different designs for the mice. Or not the mice, not Burl, but the mouse. Oh shit, I think I actually missed this one. I don't think I saw this one originally. That was during that busy week. It's got that Mega Man kind of pose to it, right? There's Ricky with his baseball bat. He's all beat up. That's cool. He's all ripped up and shit. Going to kick some ass. look. Oh yeah, I don't think this one. No. So he did character sheets for the sprites. So the sprites are a little bit more, like they look a little different than you would say, I don't know, this would be promo art or something. But you see the difference between obviously the drawn character. The sprites have a different proportion. So I asked him to do, in the sprite proportion, give me a character model sheet that might help me follow and to fix up some of the details and stuff like that. Because obviously, they're a little different. Where this one's, has more detail. You can put more detail. It can be thinner and stuff. But the sprites have to be a little bit thicker, just to be readable, and how it works. So this is kind of the same here. But you compare this concept art to this, and it's like, holy shit, it's like way different. Like just proportionality wise. So that's why I had him do, like, I guess 2 styles, so to speak. And then he used the colors too, so he made sure he stayed on model with the colors. And that's really important. It was something we discussed early. When you draw the concept, make sure that you have that palette in mind. Especially if you're going to do the sprite sheets, or the sprite concept sheets. Let's see what else. I know we've got more of those. Yeah, here's the regular one. So, same deal. Deacon Ricky's sheets in the sprite style specifically. So, like, obviously, like any kind of promo art and stuff is probably going to be looking more like this. But this at least gives me some kind of proportion and detail to follow in the game. And I think that's important. I'm not really great at doing that kind of stuff on my own. So it's really good that we got Toy here to help out. I think I'm caught up with that for the most part. There's the sketch version of that one. That's what eventually became this. I don't know if he markered it out or did it digitally. I'm not really sure. But this is the sketch version of it. He's got the tag and all that. So that's what became of that. Actually, it looks like he might have thinned Deep a little bit. Not too much. That's about the same. That's about the same. It's just cleaner because it's, obviously, I feel like the eyes changed a little bit, but it's cleaner, so it looks a little different. But same basic shades. Oh yeah, okay. So he did this model sheet that was more or less like the promo art. And that's why I was like, oh wait, no, but I need something for like do the sprites. So it's good to have this anyway. But for my specific need, I needed something that resembled more the proportions that we had to do in game. And so that you can see the difference between them. So promo art wise, it probably look like this. It looks so like Maniac Mansion, like it's funny, but that's right on target. That's the kind of stuff of that era. So I think that just kind of validates the authenticity of that kind of design. Like it has that look. That's what we're going for. Oh, let's see. Yeah, this is the sketch version of that. Deep sketches. This kind of looks like he used colored pencil, I think. So he must have inked it in a colored pencil. But these ones look different. I don't know if this is digital or marker or something. I'm kind of a dummy when it comes to art, so I'm not really sure what he did there. If I happen to ask him, I'll let you know if I remember. Oh, here. Okay, so here's another Ricky. So I guess we got 2 Ricky sheets. I forget why there's 2 of them. Yeah. He's got slightly different hair here. He's got that little hair spike in the back, where here it's been omitted. I guess also because it's not going to show up in the sprite, potentially. I know Tim added it, but I don't think that it looks too good as a detail like that. Or maybe at least not shaped in that way. Might be something that's just too small to accurately get in there. But we'll see. It's all kind of a process. Yeah, so he's got the 3 head height. That one looks fine. I don't remember why he ended up redoing it, to be honest. Or if he just wanted to do it next to Ricky, or deep next to Ricky just for scale. I don't really know. I think that's all of it that I can share at least. Oh, here's Tim's sprites again. I don't know if they're any different than the other one. So this one and this, are these different or no? Yeah, they are actually a little bit different. Yeah. Okay, so this was Tim's. What was the other ones? I've done on the visual noise here. This was one of Tim's. Yeah, we don't. Okay. So this one on top's a little different. Especially Ricky. So Ricky's hair is different. And I think the feedback that I gave him was that we'll pull up Ricky's model sheet here. See how useful this is? To have this to compare to? So see how Ricky's hair is all sloppy. And then in the model sheet it's spiky, kind of. Like it sticks up. So I believe that's why he made that change. I don't know if I would do it this way though. It still looks like it's not as consistent. I don't know. I'd have to mull that over. But you get the idea. So I think that was the nature of that change. And then he put some kind of sort of anti-aliasing on the lips there, but I don't think that looks too good. On Deke, you don't kind of notice it because it's so dark. But on this, it's like, why is his mouth green? It's just, like, I get it. I get why it's green, but at the same time, it's like, eh. Let's see, Melody. Melody had more hair texture there. Let's see, what's her spray model sheet? Yeah, so we just turned it into a curve. There's really no texture here. I mean, yeah, obviously there's binding texture in this, but you're not going to get that at that resolution. I think that's why Tim just simplified it to one thing. She does have a bit more forehead hair here, though, than this seems to suggest, so maybe something to touch up a bit as we go ahead. Oh, she does have an earring here. Okay, that's why Tim added the earring. Okay, fair enough. We'll go with that. I don't know if we'll be able to get the unicorn on the backpack. If she ever faces away from the camera, which I'm sure she will, because we'll have doors and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'll try to render it, but it may not come out visible. And then, of course, they've all got their backpacks. So, okay, so that's why Tim added the earring. That makes sense. It's just so big in the sprite proportionally to everything else. It just stands out. It's like, huh? But yeah, alright, fair enough. Fair enough. We'll roll with it for now. And then Deke. Last but definitely not least, Deke. Oh yeah, that's right, he's on this sheet. So Deke's pretty on model. I think we need to shape the hair a little bit different. You see, he tried 2 different types of hair here. Deke's hair is a little tough. But I think it'll be important to get that little divot in the back to kind of imply the shape. You know, that kind of like short but spunky hair. He's different. Ricky's a little longer, a little more wild. Deke's all prim and proper. So, that said, why don't we... Oh, that's not that one. I grab it. Oh, no. There we go. You know what? I apologize. I'm just going to have that on the second monitor so I can look at it without it interfering over here. I don't got too much space. Usually I got like an ultra-wide monitor so I can move side by side, but I can't stream that. So I'm getting cropped out here on my workflow. But I'd like to try to adapt some of these things into here. So yeah, we got some time. So I'd like to adapt some of these. Oh no, stop it! Damn snapping. Alright, I'd like to adapt some of these changes into here and maybe touch them up and try to work with them and see how they work. So it works out. So, I'm actually going to start with melody. Oh, Tim's got different gears for these guys too now. So he ended up 0 one way, right? He ended up, oh, not doing that, I'm sorry. Not that, but he ended up doing that. And he closed the hole down here. I don't know about that. I guess I can see what he's going for, but hair doesn't always come all the way down back like that, so I guess it does make his neck look longer. Or not longer, but wider. I don't know, whatever, we'll play with it. Whatever. And so, yeah, Ricky's hair is obviously different now. He's got, than the sprite shows. So, yeah, let's look at what Toys 4 to 3 shows. So we're looking at this one here. Just kind of comparing the two. So, okay, so he's kind of got that hair divot going on. You know, let me just drag this in. Maybe I can get it so it's happy and alright. I'm okay with it. Alright, can we move? We can't move it outside, but that sucks. But at least we can see Ricky now. That might be an acceptable layout here. So for Ricky's hair, it's kind of like up here. And let's get the secondary green. So it's kind of like, it's got like, I don't know, hair that kind of comes in almost like this. And it comes to a spike. And then the second spike. Kind of like this, I guess. And then second spike is shorter, but here, and then it kind of comes down from there. Something like that. Not god awful, at least not right now. So let's see. Not exactly right, but actually, Toy's design shows it going kind of flush with the gear here. Something more like that. Interesting. Okay. It's starting to take shape. And he's got a bit more of a forehead here, so... expand this out Not quite. But I don't think we're headed too far in the wrong direction here. Part of the problem is going to be how do you represent this little bump accurately enough here that it's not going to be out of place. I think part of that's going to be a challenge. It's like, how far do you have to go to form this divot here? Especially with such a hard edge here. Do that to kind of bolster it up, but I don't really want to go thick on the outline like that unnecessarily. You see, the problem here is it just don't look straight anymore. Maybe we can like raise it a little. That comes to the same problem we had before. Can't really do that. Well, let's say if you shift the whole thing back. Does that look okay? Perhaps. B for brush. Gotta kind of like point up the way that it is. Kind of. I don't know, it's kind of hard to represent there. Because this almost looks like it's curved down. Like it's curved down around the end. It's kind of come under its own weight. But the drawing really shows that it's like this. But drawing it like I did makes it look like it's like this. That's hard to rectify sometimes. The problem is that if you erase this pixel, it has less of a point on it. Like, you can do this, but then it looks really up more so than it looks there, so it's tough, man. Shit ain't easy. At least I don't think it is. That's not true. And that can't go too far there before that breaks. And slow this down perhaps. Make it a little more flush with his face. Kinda don't like that though. I'll be honest, this doesn't look terrible this way. But it does kinda look like a bang. As opposed to just coming around his head, so I might not be able to do that. But at the same time, I can't. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. Just use mine. Whoa, what is this from? I'm sorry, I didn't see the chat. I got covered up by a window. What is this from? This is a new game that we're making. It's a kids trapped in a haunted mansion, gotta find your way out kind of game. Platformer. So like an action platformer, exploration kind of thing. You just use mine, dude. I don't think either of our versions satisfy the designs appropriately. That's why I'm messing with it. So this will have to come back somehow. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Not really sure. That don't look quite right either. Looks like he's got like some kind of helmet on or something. Doesn't look like it. Only because Koi keeps changing the design. No, we're pretty good here. We're static here. I think we've hit kind of like what it is. Like I think like his rendition like this is really, they're pretty much like it's coming together. Like I told him like this is probably the best one that we've seen, you know, in terms of like what we'd expect to see like in an instruction manual or something. So we'd like to keep this kind of direction. But you got the little haircut in the back too there. Or not the little thing poking out. But I don't know, I don't think that's gonna translate well to pixels. I could be wrong, but at this moment it doesn't seem good. Pop chat back up. Chat keeps getting covered up because I keep moving windows around. Ah, crap. No, I covered up Ricky here. Alright, and pop chat back up again. Never ending struggle. His hair may be too tall? I don't know. Like, I could lower it. I'm exploring here with the design. That's not too terrible. Like, I don't like this part. I don't like this part, but this is not terrible. This part might have to be short, maybe. And then that way this like kind of come down and in. That don't look right at all, but let's touch it up. Honestly, let's step back a minute. Let's see if we can get this overarching shape to look like it does here. It kind of sticks out a little. Oh, jeez, I didn't want to kill the entire thing. It kind of sticks out a bit, in the front, but I don't know. I don't know if we should keep that or not. It's kind of like, it kind of ends up being this in a way. We'll have to kind of curve it in a little bit. But this looks a little rounded, so I guess it's tough. It's tough, man. Without using like a thicker outline. It's usually my go-to shape fixer. Just add a couple on the outline. There you go. That looks a little better. But we can't afford that kind of thing in this style. Well, this part here is definitely more flat in the art. You could say it's something like that. But this square, this pixel, changes the whole read of the back there. I'm not sure I like it, but I don't know if we have much of a choice. Something like this. Not god awful, but it can't stay there exactly. Needs a little more. Can't be a copy of the first one here though. It's not gonna look right. That. Like, I don't mind this one being open here, and I think even Tim's had something to that effect. Yeah, his were actually open here too. Let me treat this last one like a spike then. Also, it's a freaking disco in here, and you're hardly audible on phone, so I'm blowing out. I'm sorry. I'm just tired today, so I'm not talking very loud. Is this better, Tim? Is it better? Is it loud enough? Tell me if it's loud enough. No, that ruined the shape of everything. That's not god awful. I think one of the problems is the rigidness of this. It needs to be lower the disco. There, how about that? Is that better? I don't know, his hair is harder to render than I thought. I don't think I'm completely off track, but it's definitely not this just goes down. I don't like that angle. Doesn't seem to be appropriate. I keep trying to move with the friggin' mouse. Like to zoom in like Photoshop. It's a different shortcut key, so it's killing me here. It's killing me. Oh, that's not terrible, actually. I disagree with Tim, the disco rules. Well, as long as you can still hear me, that's the concern, I think. And if we went to do the outline in full here, we would end up with something like this. Now the implied outline is a little different. Gives it a little bit more of a stunted look. I don't know, man. That's not terrible. It's not terrible. That makes it a little too pronounced, I think. But sometimes you gotta make things read bigger, but in this case, I don't think that that's the appropriate way to do it. I don't know, I don't think that's terrible. I think that's looking a little better. Facial proportions are a little different, but I think they're going to be between the art, you know, and the character, but yeah, whether or not the expanded face is good, I'm not really sure. know, keep going back and forth between certain ones here. No, that's not right. Yeah, it's kind of a debate between that and that. Or drop the whole thing down if you want. Actually, let me undo that. How do I add to? Is this add? Yeah, that's add. So say we knock that down one. Well, I don't know if that makes his head look too small or not. Almost kind of feels like you'd have to do that to kind of keep the shape here. Then you run into the problem of this, but actually no, that looks okay. Actually looks pretty good. Maybe I won't screw with that. That actually looks kind of decent. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I think leaving that, like, oh, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's more in line with what Koi's got anyway. Kind of just skims along the ear line here. You see, their ears are a little lower in this design. We'll experiment with that. Huh. Now that's not a bad look. I don't like the squareness of this part here. I don't know if we could just embellish it out the back, but nah, that don't look quite right either. Yeah, that was the strength of having this up here, is that it gave you an implied line back down. So you can follow this line with your eyes, but if it's like this, it's a little different. Because this boxiness here. Now this looks like elf ears because it's pointy now. You could, no, that still doesn't look quite right. Now you're getting the shading. Maybe imply that. It sort of loses the hair divot here. Another thing I can think of is if we move the ear a little bit like that. That's actually not terrible. It's not god awful. Maybe that'll work. It gives it that more kind of, you know, bigger overtaken shape that it's doing here. Though it kind of seems like Koi's design fully realized would be more or less like this. Kind of hard to tell. Because the ears are pretty large, but they're also lower. That don't look right to me though, in sprite form at least. I don't know, this is tough, man. Actually move his face, give him a wider face now. Give it a little bit of a rounding effect like he has on here. And maybe do that. That actually looks not terrible. Not happy with the ear the way it is, but it's better, perhaps. But now if you go back and you do this, now you've got the problem with the square part here. And then the sideburns gotta come back down. If it ain't one problem, it's another. That's how it works. And that looks like he has glasses or something going on. Which would be kind of funny. Now you're deep. Something like that. Yeah, now he's Deke. Kind of. Deke light. What's Deke got? Yeah, okay. How did Tim do Deke? I like the way that he did the glasses on Deke. Okay, so he just said screw it. It's just white on the outside. There you go. Now he's got glasses. I don't know. He's not gonna have glasses, but I'm just messing with it. So let's undo that. I don't think this is bad. This actually looks pretty good. I think that looks, I don't know, it looks more or less like this kind of look, and that's fine because I like this kind of look. The spikes here aren't quite as strong, but they have to be amplified a bit to work in the sprite, just because of the way sprites are. Is that one 100%? Maybe it is. Seems like it would be smaller than that, but I guess he's a decently sized sprite. Alright, let's see. Tim also did stuff with the arms. Did he thin them out? What do you do? Change the arms. He didn't change so much this arm. He did a little bit, actually. Change the shirt shape. I don't know about that. It's like he's pretty flat-fronted. Deke's actually got a little bit more of a gut on him. That nerd gut. I don't know. I do like the shape of the current shirt, to be honest. Even if it just makes it look a little more filled out. But let's mess with the arms here. So he filled in. Let's see, that's a 2 and 3. It's 2 and 3. He filled this in. Wait, no, he did it the other way around. He did this. And then he actually elongated the hand here. Looks like he did. Well, that's the time. Alright, we'll finish this part up here. What did he do here? Okay, so he did this. Something like this. Yeah. And he filled out the back of the hand. Looks like he put that down here. He made this look more front forward. I agree with that. He filled out the leg detail here. Okay, this gives it a bend in the leg. I see what he was doing there. And then this kind of forms the knee. That's okay. I don't know if I'd go too whole hog on it all the way up, but we'll see. I think that works better. And perhaps even just omitting it like it was before. That actually looks pretty nice. I kind of like this. Just looking back and forth. He did elongate the thing, but I think we determined that was an error, so this one's short again on this version. Anyway, that's probably where we're gonna have to leave it for now. So we did some pretty good work. Crap, I saved over the other one. Let's save as Turkey Backpack 2. There we go, and then I'll just undo the changes on the SVM. So, alright, so that's pretty much it for now. We'll be back on Monday with Pocket Fighter EX progress, and then we'll be back Thursday again, which is next Thursday is the 12th, so September 12th, and then we'll have either, well, I think Tim will be here for that one, so we'll probably be yelling and programming back and forth, maybe more programmer rage, and but if not, then we'll probably do some sprites and stuff there. Actually, I like where this is going. Maybe I'll do some of this throughout the week, and we'll go from there. So we do have this stream is patron funded by our great scrub generals in the scrub army. I got some names to read off. We've got, not sorted correctly. There we go. We got Zombie Killer. He's at the tippy top. Their super top page. We got Corporal Chungus. This is definitely the best name on the list. We got Taryn Williams. We got AJ. We got Bryce Nugglinum. And those are our top donors. So thank you very much. And we'll be back on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow me on Twitter. We've got Discord if you want to see progress throughout the week of this and the other projects. And that's pretty much it. So you guys have a good one. And I'll see you next time. So scrub out.